Hey there, welcome to the first SOP. It's going to be my instructional series. Should be short videos, 5 to 10 minutes, but kind of get into different techniques or different things that I think could help the community. So hopefully get something out of this. This week we're going to go over just a simple dry brushing. So nothing crazy, but I've got a couple different pieces here. Some pieces from the Rattler series I'm working on, and just a misprint that had some stuff going on with the Bunker series. And some things you're going to need, obviously some kind of paint palette. I use these silicone paint poppers. I've gone over these before. I think they work great for all kinds of things. You're going to need brushes. I use specific dry brushes. They're shorter bristles, a little stiffer. They just work better for dry brushing in my opinion. They are rounder, so all of these are round brushes. So you might want to pick some of those up, though any brush will work to some degree. If you've got old brushes or something, maybe chop off the bristles and kind of trim them a little bit to make them look like this. You can do that as well. The technique stays basically the same, regardless of what kind of brush you need or what brush you have. I'm going to be using metallic. You can do this dry brush with any kind of paint. The big key is in the name, it has to be dry. So you don't want any water or anything like that on your brush. You don't want to have just rinsed it out in your water or anything like that. So you want it to be as dry as possible. So that's why I keep a bunch of different of these dry brushes around. If I need to change colors or something, I can do that without having to worry about waiting on one brush that I have to dry. So you just need a little bit of paint. So you just barely get the end in. So you get a little bit on there, and then you want to have a paper towel or something to wipe it on, and you kind of just go over it on this until it gets down to almost where you can't see it. Then what I always do is I always pick a spot to test. So a spot you know you're going to want maybe a little more, and you just kind of run it over top on the edges and stuff. So any place it's going to like push in is where it's going to have more paint than not. So you can go over all these textures and stuff. The texture is going to pick up that paint off the brush that's still left on there, and you get left with this really nice like metal look. It's not exact science. You can take your time and do real specific spots if you want. Get a smaller brush. It's one of those things. No matter what you do, you can always go back and add a little bit of the base paint over top if you need to, if you got a little heavy in one spot. But it's pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward. The big thing is getting enough paint off your brush. If you don't get enough paint off your brush, you're going to do that first one, and it's going to look like this. Here, I'll show you on the thing. So I didn't get enough paint off, and instead of just getting a little bit, well, that's bare metal now. Okay, so you just get a little more paint off. I even do a little more than that. There we go. And you'll get used to how much you gotta take off to get it. Some of it you just don't push as hard when you're brushing it across something. But be a little sporadic with it, because most of the time with dry brushing you're trying to simulate paint wearing off maybe on metal surfaces or something like that, or that's what I use it a lot for. Sometimes I'll dry brush black onto things to kind of just simulate some weathering and stuff like that. To quote one of the greatest painters, there's no mistakes, just happy accidents, right? Bob Ross for all you guys out there. So you just kind of mess with it, practice on things, get misprints, get pieces of things that you're not using, maybe extra parts, anything like that, something that broke, whatever it is, some scraps. And it's nice to practice, kind of see how hard you got to push, what brush strokes work best for different spots. So you just have fun with it, no big deal. I think the hardest thing is most people get intimidated by it, thinking that I can't do that, or it takes all the skill, or just a little practice and a little freedom of of being able to do it haphazardly a little bit. The more random it is, the more natural it's going to look. If you're doing, like I got multiple of these pieces, if I'm doing the exact same thing on each one where it's heavier in this little spot and not in this spot, stuff like that, it's going to look manufactured more than it is natural. So I would encourage you just to keep it as natural as possible and organic as possible, which means there's not a right or wrong way to do it. Do your best to keep that light brush. You'd be surprised at how little paint you need. I mean, I only refilled this brush one time. You can definitely still, in those spots, as the paint gets off, you just got to push a little harder into the object, and you get more paint on there, so deeper brush strokes, for lack of a better term for it, I suppose. So yeah, pretty straightforward, in my opinion. But if you got any questions, got any ideas, got any ways you think I could do it better, definitely leave it in the comments. My new series here, SOP, Standard Operating Procedures, definitely isn't this is the only way to do it, or this is the best way to do it necessarily. This is the way that I've learned to do it through other YouTubers, other channels, my experience, my time. So if you think there's something you'd like to add, definitely chime in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thanks. Look forward to next week.